welcome to a beautiful edition on Editorials. We are broadcasting from Canada. My name is Sandra Asante. Today we drawing deep consent on two mainly topics. The first one is Tigray forces capturing historic Lalibela town, as well as UN saying that claims of bias against aid workers in Tigray is very dangerous. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back with more after the break. You're welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for staying with me all the time. So we'll start off with the capturing of the Lalibela town. So forces from Ethiopia's northern region of Tigray have captured the historic town of Lalibela in the neighboring Amhara region. Yes, the town's deputy mayor, Mandefro Tadesse, told the BBC about this one. Witness contacted by the Reuters and AFP news agency also reported that the forces are indeed in control. Lalibela is well known for the 12th century churches carved out of the rock and is a major pilgrimage site for Ethiopian Christians. It is also UNESCO World Heritage Site as well. So the deputy mayor told the BBC that when the forces entered the city, there was no fighting or shooting. He said residents were fleeing from town and he was concerned about the safety of historic churches. The 9-month conflict between federal forces and its allies and Tigray forces has mostly been confined to Tigray itself, but fighting has extended to neighboring states in recent weeks. Lalibela, home to 13th century churches hung from rock, as holy site, a very holy site for millions of Orthodox churches. Residents have been fleeing the forces' advance, local officials told BBC. Thousands have been killed since war broke out in November 2020, but fighting is now spreading into Amhara and Afar, another region bordering Tigray. Millions of people have also been displaced as well. Both the Tigray forces and the Ethiopian army and its allies have been accused of committing human rights abuses and war crimes. The deputy mayor of the Lalibela, Mandefro Tadesse, told the BBC that the town was under control of the Tigray forces. He said there had not been any shooting, as I said earlier and all that, and there are 11 medieval monoliths dates from the 12th to the 13th centuries. They were built as a substitute for pilgrimage to the Holy Land, which was unreachable at that time. But the spread fighting follows a very significant territorial gains made by the forces, that is the Tigray People's Liberation Front, in June, including capturing of the capital, Mekelle, Tigray's capital, after Ethiopian troops withdrew and the government, declared a unilateral ceasefire. The TPLF was the regional government of Tigray until it was ousted by federal forces last November. It has been designated as a terrorist group. That's what they are claiming it to be. That's what the Ethiopian government is claiming. But however, the forces say they are a legitimate regional government of Tigray. And we all believe so. Earlier this week, the forces general told the BBC that group aimed to force the federal government to lift a blockade in the region and agree to political solutions to the crisis. The government denies there is a blockade and has ruled out talks. However, the TPLF push into Amhara and Afar has drawn international criticisms, and both the UN and US this week called all parties to stop fighting. The Ethiopian government says more than 300,000 people have been displaced in Amhara and Afar. Desperately, the UN said 175 lorries carrying humanitarian aid have arrived in Tigray. But the head of the UN's World Food Program, warned that more than 100 lorries were needed every single day to reach millions who were in need. Aid workers have struggled greatly to get access to much of Tigray due to the insecurities and bureaucratic hurdles. Right now, I want us to look at the claims, of bias against aid workers of Tigray that the UN is claiming to be dangerous. The United Nations new humanitarian chief has denounced dangerous accusations by Ethiopian government officials that aid workers were biased in favor of forces in Tigray, where a brutal conflict between federal troops and forces loyal to the northern region rulers erupted 9 months ago. Speaking to reporters at the end of the 6-day visit to Ethiopia, Martin Griffiths said also called for access to allow desperately need aid into mountainous region where UN says hundreds of thousands of people are suffering from famine. Blanket accusations from humanitarian aid workers need to stop. That's what he said. They are unfair, they are unconstructive, they need to be backed by evidence if there is any, and frankly it is dangerous. At least a dozen aid workers have been killed since the government sent troops into Tigray in November to remove the leaders of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF, which for decades dominated the national politics until Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed came to power in 2018. They include 3 staffs with Doctors Without Borders who were killed in June, prompting the international medical charity known by its French acronym MSF to suspend operations in the part of the region. Last month, senior government official Redouane Hussein accused some aid group of arming the other side, meaning the TPLF, but have no details, and they believe this is quite dangerous to say without evidence. So Abiy, the winner of the 2019 Nobel Peace Prize, said the army military operations in Tigray backed by forces from neighboring Eritrea, this is what he's claiming, whose government has been long-time foe of the TPLF and fighters from Ethiopia's Amhara region, were in response to the TPLF attack on federal army camps and promised victory would be shifted. We don't know how true and strong his belief on this one is, but the TPLF said federal troops and its allies launched a coordinated attack against it. The Prime Minister declared victory in late November after the army entered the regional capital, Mekelle. But fighting still do continue amid growing reports of massacres, rape, and widespread hunger. In late June, the war took a stunning turn when pro-TPLF forces retook Mekelle and the federal army largely withdrew as well. Aid workers have complained that even though Abiy declared a unilateral ceasefire, humanitarian ceasefire, aid access in Tigray is bad as ever, hobbling by insecurities and bureaucratic hurdles. MSF said on Tuesday its Dutch section have been ordered to suspend activities in Tigray and 3 other regions for 3 months, warning that moves would have been dire consequences for its beneficiaries. We are in the process of urgently seeking clarification from the authorities around the reason and details for this suspension, MSF said in a statement. The Norwegian Refugee Council said it was also ordered to halt operations with immediate effect. Its spokesman said in a statement an aid group was in a dialogue with authorities. On Wednesday, the Ethiopian government said both MSF and NRC have been disseminating misinformation in social media and other platforms outside of the mandate and purpose for which the organization were permitted to operate. It did not provide specific example of the alleged misinformation actually, but now I want us to look at the need for the war to end in Tigray. As of last week, only 50 truck aid convoys have been able to enter Tigray since the TPLF retook Mekelle. Although Griffith said on Tuesday additional trucks have gone through via the one OP land route from the east. The route involves multiple checkpoints where staffs had been intimidated and in some instances detained. This is what the UN said last week. So Griffith's own 2-day trip to Tigray was delayed when his plane and everyone on board was searched in a process that took 5 good hours, humanitarian officials told the AFP news agency. Griffiths on Tuesday reiterated the UN's estimated that 108 trucks needed to reach Tigray every single day. We need assured access route by land as well as, of course, our own flights going in and out of Mekelle. And frankly, we need to end this war. That is what he continues saying. So at least 2 land routes into the region are likely needed, he added, while acknowledging the difficulty of establishing a route via Sudan. Matiku Kesa, the head of Ethiopia's disaster response agency, said on Tuesday, denounced pressure by some Westerners and their institution to have a corridor open from Sudan into western Tigray. Since the forces retook Mekelle, they have launched a new offensive into neighboring Afar and Amhara region. The government has said that offensive proves the forces are responsible for the hampering aid delivery. This is what he's claiming, but we all know that it's untrue. So Griffith stressed on Tuesday that the government was ultimate prime actor in ensuring that the aid can reach those in need. Currently, he said, we are nowhere near meeting the obligations. We are at the moment delivering an inadequate response to task in front of us. There is like a huge urgent need in Tigray. That is what I want us to center upon right now. The UN says fighting in Tigray has pushed at least 400,000 people into conditions approximately famine. Its children agency estimated last week that more than 100,000 children there could suffer from life-threatening acute malnutrition in the next 12 months, 10 times the annual average. Griffith said the needs in Tigray are huge, they are urgent, adding that now the needs are growing in Afar and Amhara. Wednesday marks the 9 months since the first shot of the war was fired. USA Chief Samantha Powers said on Twitter on Tuesday that conflict has brought harrowing attack against civilians and it is impacting millions and it has to end. Power was also due in Ethiopia after visiting neighboring Sudan, where residents of a border town on Monday reported seeing bodies bearing gunshot wounds or in their hands floating down in the river that runs from northern Ethiopia. In Khartoum, Power said the reports appear to be quite the latest example of systematic violence carried out against civilians in Tigray. This is where I end today's editorial. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sandra Asante. I'll see you some other time. Do have a blessed day.